Welcome to another episode of Israeli Frenemies. We get the right and left together to beat out the most heated subjects of the week. Welcome again to my co-host, Uri Zaki. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing well, Ari. Good to see you.
Fantastic. Everyone out there, please leave your comments. Let us know what you think of the show and your opinions on each side. Let's get started. We have a lot to talk about today, Uri.
Definitely.
Let's get right to it.
I can't believe it, but once more we're facing another show of forgetting the past, forgetting about the Holocaust, or more so trying to erase episodes from the Holocaust. The Polish Parliament approved a law stating that any mentioning of the Polish role in the Holocaust will be considered as a legal offense. The background for that is the fact that sometimes the death camps such as Auschwitz and Treblinka and others, which were German Nazi camps located in the occupied Poland, were referred to as Polish camps, which is, of course, a distortion of the facts. Nonetheless, it doesn't mean that the Polish people were all great about treating Jews during the German occupation, the Holocaust. Most of Jews died in Polish land, with a lot of cooperation from local Polish individuals. Of course, there were other Polish people who helped to save Jews. It was all part of everything. And before I pass it to you, Ari, I should mention that even after the Holocaust ended, and after the Second World War ended, and some Jewish refugees tried to get back to their homes in Poland, there were two big massacres of Polish people with no German presence whatsoever, who killed tens and sometimes hundreds of Jews, and this is right after the Second World War in 45 and 46. So to say that the Polish were so welcoming to their fellow Jewish Polish citizens, that will be a distortion of history.
You know, I want to tell you something that's a little personal. My grandmother, who was born in Hungary, she survived 4 different camps, and she was liberated at the end of the war. When she left Europe, she swore never to go back. And she swore, she said, they kicked us out, they murdered us, I don't want to step foot in this land anymore. And I grew up with that. You know, I grew up with my grandparents, and I had a little bit of an allergic reaction. And over the years, I found that we have friends also there, people who, you know, are not denying, you know, and they're very sorry. And so I was getting a little bit warm, let's call it. You know, to do this on the week of International Holocaust Remembrance Day, I mean, you got to have some tact, even if you think this is an okay thing to do. But what you said is correct. Also, in 1941, by the way, there was the Hewabne, the pogrom, where they just murdered the Polish, not the Germans. And in 1946, what you spoke about, the Kielce, when they came back to their homes, they burnt Jews. They burnt 300 of them. You know, again, it's true that the camps were Nazi camps and German camps. It's also true that the Polish were rounding up the Jews and they were giving them. And yes, there were some, you know, Polish who were saving Jews, and that's what we have in Yad Vashem in Jerusalem. We honor them. Right. I think this, more than anything else, puts a black stain on those Polish who actually fought against the Germans. I just don't even know what they were thinking. That's the truth. You know, I think that the reason that they did this, and to make a law, really, but I think the reason they did this, they feel like they're insulted and embarrassed. Well, Poland, you should be insulted and embarrassed. I mean, again, you know, even if Israel was occupied by someone and was murdering Muslims, it doesn't matter who.
God forbid. You
know, I'm saying even we wouldn't stand up, right or left. I don't think anyone would say, yeah, no one would do that. And, you know, so I think that Poland, with all due respect, sit quietly and say, you know, say we're sorry, but don't try to make a law and, you know, try to change history. It's terrible.
Right. And, you know, before the show started, I said we might have some disagreement about that, not about the Polish law. Right. But I want to put this in a context. You know, the ruling party in Poland is an extreme rightist party, which is part of a network of extreme right-wing parties, especially in Central East Europe, which have very strong ties, despite these elements of even anti-Semitic elements with the Israeli governing party, with the Likud. And I wonder, I'm sure you will not agree with me, but I think, you know, there's a saying in Hebrew, I hope it's not too blunt, if you go to sleep with dogs, don't be surprised that you wake up with ticks. It's something like that, you know. These are parties that are against Muslims, it's true, but as we see, many times are also against Jews, and therefore I think the ties with them should stop.
Well, again, I'm not that familiar with Polish politics, but I will tell you that I think I found that although that Netanyahu did react to this and the Israeli government did, it was very quiet. I can only imagine if this happened in a place where we weren't allies with what the voice would be. But again, I certainly am not okay with just inviting the diplomat and saying shame on you, shame on you. This is a horrific thing. I think that the government should be taking a much stronger stance here. I think that America, by the way, took a stronger stance in Israel. That's the truth. Yep. And you know, the Polish said, we hope this won't hurt our relations with America. I mean, what they should have said is, dear Israel, we hope this won't hurt our relation with you. I mean, this is really, I really don't know what they're thinking. I'll be honest with you. I think we can also bring this home a little bit, just a little bit. You know, I think we agree on this pretty much fully. You know, in the Knesset, when this was coming out, the Arab member of Knesset, Haim Guri, made a statement which, again, I think is outside of politics. She says, don't be, the people who are stripping away the rights of others, you know, some kind of small comparison there, shouldn't be surprised when others deny the Holocaust. I think the whole statement is shameful.
Perhaps, but let's mention the leader of her party, Ayman Odeh, and also one of the key members of the same party, Ahmad Tibi. Both of them spoke on the occasion of the International Holocaust Memorial Day, and both of them said we have to condemn the Holocaust. It's a unique episode in human history, and nothing can be compared to that. Right. Both of them, the leader of the Arab Party in Israel, and one of the key members there, and I think we should mention that too.
Well, we mentioned the only problem, again, with Ahmed Tibi, I have a problem that I don't think that he should be getting up and talking about the Holocaust at all, considering that he was the main advisor for the biggest and worst terrorist to Israel, at least with Yasser Arafat for years. I don't know why he's sitting in the Knesset at all, but that's a whole different discussion. I think that...
but his point of view on this specific issue...
I think that the fact... Listen, you know what? It's about time, because in the past...
No, he always...
No, not him.
He has this remarkable speech when he talks about...
Not him. I'm talking about
10 years ago.
In the past, we found that Muslim regimes... President Donald Trump's speech the other night, he made it very, very clear that he's no longer going to be giving in to any countries which stand against the United States of America and the United States of America policy. One of those movements is the PA, or the Palestinian refugees, or any way you want to define them, who Trump is now stripping UNRWA of the funding due to all kinds of use of money that shouldn't be used. And instead of the Arabs here, the Palestinians call themselves, you know, saying, look, we should maybe behave ourselves, they actually went out on demonstrations and hung a doll of Trump and Pence and then burnt them. Actually had the representatives of Fatah, which is the moderates, talking about how he justifies such a thing. I'm not so sure, Uri, that this is the way to get the money back or to get on America's good side. I mean, look at this. This is truly unbelievable.
This is disgraceful. And with all due respect, these are not people I'm going to defend. I mean, the people who do these.
This is the representative of Fatah, by the way.
Yeah, whatever. The Fatah are my rivals. They're not my. I don't represent them. But I would say the following. First of all, about UNRWA, and we should tell our viewers, UNRWA is the UN agency that was formed in order to assist the Palestinian refugees in 1948. Now, today, millions of Palestinians, mainly in Gaza, the West Bank, but also in Jordan and in Lebanon, are totally dependent on this agency. Perhaps it's a bad situation, but right now, cutting down on UNRWA's which is not a political organization, it's a UN organization, cutting down on its funding will make there's a danger that millions of people will be starving. There will be a humanitarian crisis across our border, which we'll have to handle somehow. It's an Israeli interest. It's not a Palestinian interest that we don't have a humanitarian crisis, definitely not in Gaza, but also not in the West Bank, which we directly control. And I also think that with regard to the PA, you know, as someone who wants the occupation to end, I'll say something blunt right now. From where I see it, I think that the PA, if it would shut down, that would be the burden back to Israel, because right now we have this buffer called the PA that has the capacity of showing as if a facade there is no occupation. If Israel would have to go back to the Palestinian cities and rule them directly, that would put the burden back on Israel, and then we'll haste to end the occupation.
Well, I'm happy that you're not going to give advice to others to make Israel look bad, but in any case, I wanted to go back in terms of UNRWA for 1 second. For those who don't know, UNRWA is the only separate organization from the UN taking care of a specific refugee problem. All the other refugees in the world are under one, UNRWA is on the other. True. UNRWA, which has the least amount of refugees in it, has the most expensive budget given to it. And again, we know that it's also not only going just to food and everything else, but the point, here's the biggest thing. You spoke about the refugees, quote unquote, in Gaza and in the West Bank and Lebanon and so on and so forth. We're talking about in 1948 when Jordan, Egypt, and Syria took over Jerusalem, Jordan, Judea, Samaria, Gaza, and the Golan Heights. They put their own brothers in refugee camps. In other words, I think that the Arabs have been playing a game with the world for 70 years now, keeping this problem going on purpose. It also to blame Israel for it, but also to keep this problem alive so we can fight Israel. Can you imagine Israel saying to the Jews who came from Morocco, Iran, Iraq, or Jordan, we're not taking you in. We're going to make you refugees. So I think.
By the way, the Ben Gurion government said it would not accept weak so-called refugees from Jewish Moroccans if they're old or sick and stuff like that. So
but I think
even in our past we have
but we
things
did
like that.
800,000 Jews from Arab lands did come in. But in any case, I think that UNRWA has been playing a game with the world and billions of dollars, and Trump said enough. I think the Arabs made a grave mistake now, but I don't think it was a mistake.
But again, it's not a question of who's right and who's wrong. But what would you do with the humanitarian crisis in Gaza? How do you handle it?
Let me just finish for a second. I think that their behavior here, burning Trump and hanging Trump,
it's horrible.
Was not the brightest thing to do. America is the #1 funder of UNRWA, and if that's the way you behave, then you're an enemy.
But again, UNRWA is a UN agency. It's not a political organization.
But actually, it's only deal with the Palestinians.
You're right, but it was founded like that.
But you can't only for the Palestinians.
Yeah, it's true, but this is 48. But today you have. But what do you do?
Just a second. You can't burn the President of the United States and expect him to give you money.
Right, but it's not UNRWA who did it. It's Palestinian activists.
It's the head of Fatah. He's the representative
but it's
of Fatah.
not UNRWA. UNRWA is a UN agency. But what's your solution? Okay, tomorrow, you're right. Okay, there's no funding to UNRWA. It's being shut down. And now we have hundreds of thousands of families who are dependent for food, education, health on UNRWA.
They're not dependent.
So
because I'll tell you,
you're okay with that?
It's not, first of all, they're not dependent. Because you're talking about the refugee camps in Israel, built by Jordan, by the way, are not.
Have you ever been to one refugee camp?
I have. Yes.
It's one of the most.
No, it's not. Stop. Let me
Yes,
talk.
it is.
No, it's not.
There's poverty there.
No, there isn't. Uri, stop.
Yes, there is. You haven't been there.
I've been there many times, and actually have friends from there. I know for 20 years, unlike you in Tel Aviv. Listen to me very carefully.
With all due respect, like you in Tel Aviv.
To you?
Yeah, I'm not a colonialist who live in an occupied territory. I live in sovereign Israel, not in occupied territory.
Can I discuss the point?
Like you do.
Can I discuss the point, please? You stop interrupting for 1 second. Okay? In the refugee camps, the people have cars, they have satellite dishes, they have money, and they have houses that are built.
What does that have to do with anything?
Let me finish the sentence. Uri, every time you interrupt, there is to know that you agree with me. Listen to me. Let me finish. Okay? They're not completely reliant.
You are always talking about facts.
They're not completely.
These are the most
Uri, I'm going to talk
intensely
over you.
populated areas in the world.
False. I will put up the most false. I will put up the statistics afterwards.
There's poverty there, unlike any other place.
I'm going to put the numbers up afterwards.
Put up the numbers.
You're wrong.
But not numbers on fake news, right-wing media. When real
everybody
facts.
sees the numbers from the UN, you're going to be wrong. It is not the most populated areas.
Oh, it's not?
Absolutely
Gaza is not the most populated area in the world.
It is absolutely not. There are empty places in Gaza, and there are full neighborhoods of Gaza who have huge buildings, beautiful buildings.
So there's no problem.
There is a problem.
I love your attitude.
No.
For you, your attitude is, let's play ostrich.
Now let me talk.
Now I'm going to talk. There's no humanitarian crisis because I said there's none.
There is a problem. The problem is the Arabs have been trying to destroy Israel. The problem is that after war, they're in a war-struck area.
You are blind You're
Uri,
blind.
when you attack
I don't even
someone-
expect
No,
you
no, no, Uri,
to
Uri,
see
Uri,
the,
Uri,
the
listen to me.
suffering of your fellow Palestinians. That's
They're
fine.
not my fellow Palestinians.
Right. You have only compassion only to Jews.
Uri, you done?
No, that's fine.
Can I talk now?
But
No. Uri,
from an Israeli
my turn.
national
My turn
security,
to talk now.
national
My turn to talk now.
security
My turn.
interest,
My turn.
you don't
Uri,
want to have
let me talk.
a humanitarian crisis
Uri, no
under
one's
your
gonna hear
direct
you
control.
now. No one's going to hear you. My turn. The Palestinians are
Your turn is all the time, by the way.
The Palestinians are not my fellows. The Palestinian identity was created to destroy me. Only a fool.
They were created to destroy you?
1964.
It's
the
amazing.
Palestinian identity was created to destroy Israel.
It's amazing. Your
True or
attitude,
not?
your
The PLO
attitude
was created to
is just
destroy-
completely
Was the
amazing.
PLO
You think a whole
Was the
people
PLO
was
created to destroy
created
Israel?
to destroy you?
Second clause in their charter.
Amazing. The
Second
charter.
clause in their
Who cares
charter.
about a charter? It's a people.
No, it is not.
It's not a people.
Nope. Name me a Palestinian something before 1948.
I'm just completely amazed.
Tell me the-
you're doing. It's amazing.
Palestine Post, Palestine
It's
Brigade,
just amazing.
Palestine Company, all Jewish. Name me something Arab.
Why does it matter?
Name me something Palestinian Arab.
Why does it matter?
Name me one.
What does it matter?
Name me something.
This debate
You said it's a people. Name me
is
something.
fruitless. There's
You said-
no,
you
there's
said
no
the
point
people.
for this debate.
You said
and
the
we're
people.
having it each time.
When
They
you
regard
lie,
themselves,
when you-
nationalities
Uri,
are self-imposed.
I'm gonna cut you off.
They don't come from God. They are self-imposed by human beings.
So
it's invention.
Then you agree it's made up.
Israel is an invention. Palestine is an invention. A couple of weeks ago, there was a horrible terroristic murder of a father of a family in an outpost, an illegal outpost, Jewish outpost called Havat Gilad. Horrible murder of a rabbi. But the reaction, the government, the settlers' government sitting in Jerusalem, instead of saying, these illegal outposts don't help the security of Israelis, don't help the security of their own inhabitants, is now rewarding another illegal outpost by making it legal. Now, I'm really, Ari, this murder is horrible, and I think murder should be condemned. Such a murder, such a terroristic murder by Palestinian terrorists should be condemned, and I don't think there's one Israeli who doesn't think so. Having said all that, I think taking this horrific tragedy into creating yet another obstacle to a future Palestinian state, which is the only solution for a free Israel and for a Jewish Israel and for a democratic Israel, is a grave mistake.
Okay. I'll let you talk. Let me fit a couple of things. Number one, you said everybody condemns it. No, the people who you want to give the Palestinian state to do not condemn it. In fact, they put it on a pedestal and said that was a wonderful operation, was their word. So the fact that you want to take these people...
As if you condemn the killing of Palestinians.
Uri, you gotta stop.
As if you condemn...
Uri,
have you ever condemned... You don't even recognize that they exist.
All right, everybody's watching this. You understand what happens. He has a monologue. I talk and interrupts. You got to stop. It's ridiculous. It's like rude. It's rude.
Oh, really?
It's rude. Stop interrupting.
It's rude.
Everybody's watching. It's looking silly.
Oh, okay, so maybe I'll go.
You can go if you want. Just stop interrupting. The people who you want to give a Palestinian...
we are getting paid here in order to have a debate.
Yeah, but you're interrupting. I'll let you talk. Can we go on? The people who you want to give a Palestinian state to do not condemn it. They honor it. They said in Hebrew, kol hakavod, I mean, good job. They called it an operation. That's number one. Number two, when you said give in to, number one, this outpost, whatever you want to call it, was bought legally.
No.
Would you like the person's name?
No, excuse me.
The person's name is Moshe Zar. Bought privately.
Once more. Now, can I answer? Please. Sir, can I answer?
But everybody's watching this.
No, please.
Everyone saw you interrupt.
Can I answer? Can I answer?
Yes.
That's how we raise our hands
let's go. We have
in Israel, in Israeli
about.
schools. Okay, thank you, sir. Each time you say it, like you say, you talk about the facts.
Right.
Now, the fact is, why is it being legalized now if it was legal from the beginning?
Is that your question?
No, and I'll tell you the answer.
it's a hypothetical
The
question.
answer is because it is illegal according to Israeli law.
Okay.
And now, no. So there's no question. Each time you say that, it's amazing.
Would you like to give you facts?
There was a government.
Would you like to give me facts?
No, just a second.
Okay.
Why there was needed a government? The government of Israel had to make a decision, or it will make a decision on Sunday,
Right.
to make it legal. Why you need to do it if it's already legal?
Is there a question mark? Can I answer now? The reason that happened is because in Judea and Samaria, what happens is the government waits till after things are built to give it clearance. What happened was this was bought by a man. Unlike you, we say the Arab owns, you can't give the name. Here's the name. Moshe Zar bought the land privately. He bought the land in memory of his son who was murdered. His son name was Gilad, and he said he would buy and settle 6 different new
So why
Jewish
was it
villages.
illegal for the last 15 years?
So I'll explain to you. Don't say you don't even know what it was.
I don't know how many times it was.
So don't throw things out.
How many years it was? How many years? When was it established?
When I'm ready, I'll let you know.
Please.
Okay, but you can't throw things out when you don't know what you're talking
Look,
about.
man, you're not my teacher.
I am apparently, because you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm going to say it
you're
again.
not.
All right, so basically Gilad, who is his son, was murdered. And he said he's going to...
When?
Can I
Know
finish?
your facts.
Can I finish?
No, when?
I don't know, okay?
Okay, you don't know.
Good. Gilad was murdered, and he's going to start...
It's about 15 years ago.
Six new Jewish towns in his memory, okay? It was privately bought. The government itself is now hooking that up legally and saying now...
15 years later.
It's irrelevant, so what?
Uri,
there was no...
So why do you need a government decision?
There is no Arab
It's amazing how you ignore facts and you think...
I'm done, I'm finished, I'm good. Go ahead.
Can I talk?
Sure,
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Each time, you are ignoring facts.
What facts?
If it was
What facts
legal
did I ignore?
from day one,
That's not what I said.
why does the Israeli government, the Israeli cabinet, has to decide it's legal?
I didn't say that. I said it was privately bought. In order to build on the land, you have to get clearance.
So how come he didn't get any authorization in the last 15 years?
Again, I'll explain to you. Again, your ignorance doesn't mean that you have to yell. He bought it. In order to get permission to build on it, you need government permission. It has nothing to do with Palestinian claims.
But he didn't get the government.
And he's going to get it now. Wonderful.
15 years later.
And therefore,
so for 15 years, it was illegal.
So, and good.
That's what I said.
No. Again, you connecting this with the Palestinian...
Amazing.
You connect it with the Palestinian claims.
You live in a fantasy world.
All right,
in this right-wing messianic fantasy world,
again, messianic.
where you have your own facts. They don't have anything to do with Israeli history, with Israeli law, with international
Jerusalem,
law.
No Israeli history. Land of Israel, no Israeli history.
Just
the
amazing.
messianic one
Just
here
amazing.
is you. You have blind faith in this false peace. You have blind faith in the terrorists, and you say no matter how many people they kill, we're going to give them a state and everything will be okay. That's messianic. Me saying no, that's sane.
But you ignore the facts. For
Insanity.
15 years, the Israeli authorities said it's an illegal outpost.
Very good. And now they're making
this week, one of the biggest poets and authors in Israeli history passed away, Haim Guri. He's not very well known outside of Israel, but he's a symbol to what we call the Palmach generation, the generation of the Jewish forces who established the State of Israel in 1948. His poems were, as Prime Minister Netanyahu said, the soundtrack of a generation. One of his most famous poems became a popular song called The Friendship. It was the most beloved song of the late Yitzhak Rabin, who was also a member of the Palmach. And you know, Ari, I met with Guri about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and he told me he was completely insulted by thugs who called him, he was a part of the Israeli left, and these thugs, a person that with his own hands and words created the state of Israel, called him a traitor, and he was completely insulted. And he and you know, I share his pain, but I promise to Haim Guri that this will not last, and Israel would once more be a place of solidarity, peace-loving country, and not this country that Haim Guri unfortunately had to endure in his last days.
Well, I don't know. I think the country's an awesome country. I love this country. I find nothing wrong with it. So, I don't know. We have a different opinion. I love this country.
I love this country. I hate its government.
I want to thank you for watching Israeli Frenemies again right here from Tel Aviv. Please do share it on your Facebook and Twitter feeds, and we'll see you next week from Tel Aviv, Israel. Have an awesome weekend, everyone.